Well, hello and welcome to this video in the NetBeans 101 series. This is the introduction video, and the reason for the 101 series is that there's been a few requests for basic information about how to use NetBeans, how to start projects, and this type of thing. So what we're going to do in this NetBeans 101 series is look at how we use NetBeans itself for the various different programming languages. This one is the first one, and we're going to look at what NetBeans is. Okay, so NetBeans is an IDE. Now this stands for Integrated Development Environment. It's much more than an editor. It allows you to develop multiple projects at the same time, and also allows for multiple languages at the same time. Out of the box, it does Java, JavaScript, C++, XML, HTML, PHP, Groovy, Javadoc, JavaScript, JSP. All sorts of different languages out of the box, and more. You can actually plug in languages if you know how to do this and develop for those languages as well. It also has design GUIs for Java, HTML5, PHP, C++, Maven, that type of thing as well. So it has a lot of plugins that you can use, and it also has the design support, monitors, tablets, phones, so you can design for any of these. For example, you can use frameworks with PHP, you can use frameworks with HTML and CSS and things like that, and you can design with those. Code generators, so it'll actually generate some code for you. It does refactoring, so you can make changes in various different parts of the project, not just on the file that you're working on, but in multiple files. There are templates which you can create and edit. There's syntax checking to make sure that you're using the right syntax, and it'll check for errors and that type of thing as well. Project management. Now this is one of the things that NetBeans does very well. It allows you to have multiple projects open. It allows you to deal with projects independently. It allows with use for team work with Git and Subversion and Mercurial to use those project managers as well. So it's very efficient on project management. Because of how it works, you can have thousands of folders, millions of lines of code. It's not a problem for NetBeans. If yours is just a small program with a few lines of code, that's also not a problem. It works very well, and you can actually find what you're looking for very quickly with the various different tools that are available. It's free. Yes, that means there's nothing to pay. It's free. It's open source, so you can actually check the code, and if there are problems, you can create your own fork and change the code specially for you or your company as you wish. It's also fully cross-platform, so that's Windows, Mac, Apple Mac, and Linux. It works on all three, no problem whatsoever. And so let's have a look at the interface. Now, to download it, I'll put a link to download in the top, and I'll also put some cards at the end of the video for the how to download and install it into Linux and into Windows. There is an installer for the Apple Mac on the main page. That makes it a bit easier for you with that as well. But there aren't installers yet for Windows and for Linux. These are coming. If you want to use the older versions of Apache, that's Apache 8.2, then there are installers for that, for Apple Mac and for Linux. But it's just the latest ones, which is currently Apache 9, You might notice this is Apache 10. This is not a release version, so consequently, if you are programming for, I would use version 9, the IDE 9. Version 10 is has been held up due to one or two problems, not necessarily just with NetBeans, but with some of the other software that it relies on. Okay, so the interface allows you to create multiple projects. So as you can see, you can have Java, JavaFX, HTML, and the various different HTML, JavaScript, and so on. PHP, you can actually have a PHP application from a remote server, so you can actually give it the address of the server and it will download the files onto your computer, that type of thing. Not a good idea to work on a live server, by the way, but it does allow you to automatically do this if necessary. You can write your own NetBeans module, so if you need a module to do something, you can do that, and there are various sample applications that you can use, okay, to show you how to use the system. One of the nice things in, for example, PHP is that there's to-do list, that type of thing, but the calculator application also uses the codeception and the net tester, so that you can actually use the testing framework to make a project which will test the various different parts of the project. Okay, so that's basically what I want to talk about today on the introduction. It is much more powerful than, say, Atom, and you may notice if you look at the bottom here, I do actually have Atom. I also have a number of other programs which I use. For example, I do use Visual Studio Code as well, but quite honestly, Apache NetBeans, in my opinion, is much better than all of those. I'll put links to help you download it. The next video, although I've already done one on the tools and the options, will actually look more in detail at each tool, each option, what it does, why it does it, and do you need it, more importantly, and that type of thing. And we'll also look at how to set up some of the plugins and configure the system. As I say, we've already done a video on that, so I'll also link to it, but the video that I will do next will be in much more detail and will be split over a number of parts. I hope you found this useful. My name is John. Thank you for watching.